This political party, the Democratic Party, have lied to us about everything. They've lied about being the party of the middle class. They've lied about being the party of peace. They've lied about being the party that wants to help poor people. Okay? What the last several weeks have proven to us all is that this is a cadre of criminals and losers and spoiled children of affluent parents who were more concerned about looking good than actually doing good. These are people who were more concerned about looking like they were doing something for the American people than actually doing things for the American people. And that's why I'm so angry. Because this party lied to me while stealing my tax dollars. The Democratic Party lied to us all while they brought in millions of illegal immigrants for their own political purposes for the last 4 years. 20 to 30 million illegal aliens brought in, and now we come to USAID being probably the largest money laundering operation in American history. Congratulations, Dems. You've outdone even Bernie Madoff. I'm disgusted beyond words. Disgusted with the waste of money. Disgusted with the waste, with the fraud. With the way that you people use color legitimacy, and the way you use black people as f***ing mules to get us to push whatever f***ing agenda you wanted to. The amount of division you used black people to sow upon the American people, you used us for that. And I will never, ever forgive this political party that I've gone through personally. Y'all were supposed to be the party of free speech, the party of women's rights. You have immolated all of those things. And then, as if enough weren't enough, you then decide that you're going to die on the hill of USAID, a government audit. You're trying to prevent a government audit because some of you really are trying to stay out of prison. We see the game now. Y'all been out here telling us that the game was rigged against certain people. Well, now we found out who the people that were rigging the game were. Congratulations. Y'all are never going to win another political race ever again. Not if I can help it.
I think we just found our next Senate candidate. Here, here. Here, get that man's name. And I'll vote for him in a heartbeat. The auditors are being audited, gang. I love it. The prosecutors are being prosecuted. The hunters are being hunted. That video is so spot on because it demonstrates so well that the days of the Democrats being able to hide behind human shields, hide behind those who are genuinely suffering in the world in order to cover up and disguise their own blatant corruption and money laundering operations with our tax dollars, those days are over. More people than ever now see, even fellow Democrats, once fellow Democrats, now see how the Democrats use the poor, how the Democrats exploit race, how they manipulate all kinds of human suffering in order to distract us from their blatant fiscal corruption. Case in point, you remember this lady, this so-called bishop, Marion Buddy. Remember her? What a joke the Episcopal Church is. I can't even call it a church of Bob. She became the darling of the far left who suddenly discovered there is no separation between church and state when she was excoriating President Trump on his first full day in office. You remember that, right? Well, as it turns out, it's now being reported that her organization got tens of millions of dollars from your tax money. That's right. Your tax money went to her organization, Episcopal Migration Ministries, to the tune of over $50 million freaking dollars. She was profiting off of this stuff. And as it turns out, she lives in a multi-million-dollar home in one of DC's most affluent neighborhoods. These self-righteous scum. The jig is up. The jig is up. There's just no other way of putting it. More and more people are now seeing with their very own eyes how liberals use human suffering as a shield to disguise their own financial corruption. And the good news is now it's the Democrats' turn to suffer. They are now the ones who are suffering. Wait until you see which state, which solid blue state is actually on the verge of flipping and turning red. You're going to love that. But take a look at the latest poll from Quinnipiac. Now, remember, Quinnipiac is notoriously left-wing. Go ahead and look at the Real Clear Politics polling from 2024, and you'll see everywhere you see Quinnipiac, you're going to see Kamala with an unrealistic lead that she never had, right? Never, ever. Like Ann Seltzer in Iowa. She never had that lead. But regardless, with that in mind, even a left-leaning polling outlet like Quinnipiac is finding that Democrats are polling with just 31% support right now. Let that hit you. Barely 30% of voters have a favorable opinion of the Democrat Party. Nearly 60%, 57%, a supermajority, have an unfavorable opinion. Morning Consult, again, one of the more left-wing polling outlets out there, they just released a poll showing Trump actually has a plus 14 approval rating. He now stands at 52% approval. Again, this is a left-wing site. This is a left-wing polling outlet. It's just 38% disapproval. In fact, that same poll found that Trump is now among the top 5 most popular leaders in the entire world. To add insult to injury, when it comes to the generic ballot, asking voters how they plan to vote in the upcoming 2026 congressional elections, the Republicans have opened up an 8-point lead over the Democrats. The Democrats are literally in a political tailspin, and it's not hard to see why. Look at what they are defending today. Think about it. They are defending a USAID system that gave $20 million for a new Sesame Street show in Iraq, but only $700 to families in North Carolina who lost everything. Let that freaking hit you. This is why a number of prominent Democrat leaders, we're talking David Axelrod, Rahm Emanuel, they're all coming out and telling their fellow Democrats, what the hell are you doing? You're falling into a Trump trap. USAID is a trap. It was intentionally the first target. Elon and Doge knew that they would find in there whatever they would find in there, all the corruption, so forth, would disgust 80% of the population. They knew that going in. That's why they didn't start with Medicare, or they didn't start with the Defense Department. They started with USAID. They started with what was technically supposed to be literally foreign aid. That's where they started. And they knew that what did Elon call it? That ball of worms, not a worm inside an apple, just a ball of worms, a wonderful descriptor. They knew it would disgust 80% of the population. So you have even Democrat leaders saying, yo, Democrats, if you align yourselves with whatever is the antithesis of Trump, in this case, you're going to inadvertently end up aligning yourself as the defenders of only 20% of the population. This is where I gotta say Fetterman seems to have a pretty good political sense. John Fetterman recognizes You don't side with the 20%, you side with the 80%, but you try to show how you would do it differently than Trump. You try to differentiate yourself from Trump among that 80%. Probably won't work in the end because Trump is just right now too identified with that 80%. But I mean, case in point, this is exactly what we just saw with Trump and his defense of women's sports. Take a look at this. Again, notice the numbers. Take a look at this from CNN.
Numbers are really illuminating on this topic because I just think there's such a clear trend among the American public. So transgender female athletes in women's sports, only 18% of the country says that they should be, in fact, allowed to participate in women's sports. Compare this to the opposition. I mean, my goodness gracious, 79%. You rarely get 79% of the country to agree on anything, but they do, in fact, agree on the idea of opposing transgender female athletes in women's sports. But it's not just the here and now, Laura. It's not just the here and now. What we're actually seeing is a trend on this particular issue, and it's going in the direction of opposition. So take a look here. Okay, transgendered female athletes, and amongst those Americans who oppose them in women's sports. Back in 2021, it was 62%. A majority, but, you know, not anywhere close to a ginormous majority, right? A clear majority, but not a ginormous majority. But then again, you look here in 2025, you see it at 79%. So it's not just that the majority of Americans are opposed to transgender female athletes in women's sports. It's that the opposition has become considerably larger in just the last 4 years.
Hey there, Dr. Steve here, and I got a question for you. What if you could go back in time and get in on the Bitcoin era when it was still just under $1? Or buy a prime real estate before the market exploded, say, in Manhattan? Or invest in a company like Tesla before the whole world caught on? Well, that's exactly where we are right now. The parallel economy is exploding like never before. New financial opportunities are opening up, and those who see the shift and take action early are the ones who will prosper the most. That's why I'm hosting a live 90-minute event on February 27th called the America's Golden Age Summit. Now, I'll be joined by some amazing expert guests who are going to show you how to position yourself for massive success in this new era. But even better, what exactly to do in this new era. It's a truly one-of-a-kind, game-changing event. Listen, early bird tickets are now just $7, but not for long. Click the link, grab your spot, and be a part of America's Golden Age Summit. Do not miss this chance to get ahead. I can't wait to see you there. The majorities are ginormous in the Golden Age. That's right, they are. And we could see why. I mean, you saw the number, 18%. The Democrats, in defending Joe Biden's policy of allowing trans athletes to compete with women, are on the side of 18% of voters. Now, those of you who have been with this channel for some time now, and if not, make sure you smack that bell and subscribe button. It'll be an honor to have you as a regular part of our community here. But those of you who've been with this channel for some time, you know precisely why we are seeing percentages exactly like that, 18%. You know exactly the political dynamic that's behind that, right? A simple question, what do woke issues always do? Probably not a week goes by that we don't bring this up. What do woke issues always do? Without fail. Take any woke issue, what does it always do? Wokeness always splits the left and unites the right. Wokeness always splits the left and unites the right. You take any woke issue, it don't matter. It could be trans athletes in women's sports. It could be transitioning kids. It could be CRT in the classroom. It don't matter. You take any woke issue you want, you pull that issue, and you will find that it splits those on the political left right down the middle, 50-50. 50% will support it, 50% will oppose it, right? The Bill Maher, 50%. They'll oppose it. But you poll the political right on any one of those woke issues, and you find 100% of the right opposes it. So woke issues split the left and unite the right, which means that more people will always be more likely to vote against a woke issue than they will be to vote for it. That is how you get only 18% support on any woke issue. It's just another way of saying that wokeness is simply no longer politically viable. It never was, as you saw from Harry Enton's comparison of where we were in, what was it, in 21, 22 to where we are today. It never was. But now we're getting the consistent data demonstrating that the trajectory is one of a total rejection of all things woke. And so what are the Democrats doing today? What is literally every Democrat politician in Washington doing today? What is the politically suicidal mission that they're on? In order to oppose President Trump, in order to be the antithesis to Trump, they're siding with the woke 20%. That's how Scott Jennings over at CNN is putting it. He was talking about that last night. In order to be the antithesis to Trump, who has a supermajority support because whatever he supports does tend to split the left and unite the right, the Democrats are aligning themselves with a split political left. With the severing portion of a political left. And that is why we're beginning to see even the bluest of blue states start to turn red. Take a look at the latest numbers coming out of the wonderful state of New Jersey, my neighboring state here. I grew up in Connecticut. I live now in Delaware, in the greater Philadelphia area. Southern New Jersey is greater Philly. Republican registrations are absolutely through the roof, and they've been through the roof over the last year, and they continue so past November. In the last month, in January, Republicans gained over 10,000 registrations throughout the state of Jersey, all the while Democrats lost over 2,500. It's a net gain of over 12,000 voter registration. Our good friend Scott Pressler is on the voter registration front lines in New Jersey in a manner comparable to what he did in Pennsylvania last year. Brandon Strzok of Walk Away, he is also focusing his time and his attention in New Jersey. Early Vote Action is reportedly running voter data through AI software to detect fraudulent voter registrations in all of Jersey's 21 counties. That's where Scott Pressler is starting. He wants to clean out the rolls, get those cleaned up, and he and others will be busy with their amazing voter registration activities. We have to remember, Jersey shifted dramatically to the right in November. New Jersey shifted 10 points to the right from 2020. In fact, President Trump came within 5 points of actually doing the unthinkable, of actually pulling off a win in Jersey. In fact, the political shifts in Jersey have been so dramatic that even the ultra-left Politico, the one that's been getting tens of millions of our tax dollars through USAID. Yeah, that Politico. But even they are admitting that Jersey may indeed be in play for the Republicans in 2026 and 2028. New Jersey may indeed be a swing state as of now. Certainly that's what Scott and a number of others are banking on. They're now bringing Early Vote Action organization to the Garden State with the hopes of flipping Jersey the way we flipped Pennsylvania in November. And given the political realignment that we've been seeing over the last year, Jersey's in play. Remember, the secret sauce to Trump's overwhelming win was he was able to maximize his own rural white working class base from 2016, while at the same time minimize the Democrats' urban non-white working class base on the other, because he was able to get so many of them to defect over to MAGA. So more and more non-white working class voters, primarily Black and Latino voters, and particularly men, have been defecting over to Trump, just like what we saw at the beginning of the video. This fellow who's, again, hey, I'd make this guy a Senate candidate. He's my guy. So The more a new Trumpian MAGA Republican Party maximizes the rural white working class base of 2016, while at the same time minimizing the Democrats' urban non-white working class base, the more they are able to do both those dynamics, they win. They maximize their own margins while minimizing the Democrats' margins. And that's the recipe for perpetual Republican victory.